Hey there, guys. It is Rachel Feldman. I want to say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you live in the world. We serve coaches in all parts of the world. Even this morning at my 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, I was talking to a coach about our weight loss done for you funnel at yourhealthcoachbiz.com, and she lives in Singapore. So, with that being said, guys, let's get down to today's topic. I'm going live this week and doing a little mini webinar on ways that you can market, ways that you can build your list, even if you hate marketing. What I wanted to focus on before we get into October 7th, free training that I'm doing at 12 p.m., is this problem that I see come up not only in calls that I'm having with people one-on-one, but a person in my free group. She said, I have been, sharing social media posts. This is exactly, I'm not reading from the exact thing, but she said, I'm sharing consistently social media posts. I've used strategies from people that are very well known. Rachel Miller actually is the example, and she has top-notch information about building engagement. And she said, but I'm noticing that people are, struggling with their cravings and sleepless nights. And she just said, should I keep sharing the same kind of content? And without me, of course, working with her exactly and knowing what her offers are, I want to actually hit on a point that comes up a lot in my membership and something that I see in groups. I'm also going to tell you what Amber, who has just done amazing work in this area, and even Kristen Owens, what they did to solve this exact problem. So if you are like many people and you find that you are just saying the same social media, or you're trying to show that transformation that your client needs to understand in order for them not just to opt into either a challenge, join a group, check out your blog, sign up for a one-on-one call, but they need to really understand this transformation so they actually convert to wanting to work with you. Now, a lot of people, I think a lot of us coaches, don't do infancy step number one. So this is to perform an audit. I personally, when I started coaching in 2010, I didn't have a virtual assistant. I didn't have a business coach. I didn't have a digital marketing agency helping me. What I did have was that I had to review my engagement weekly, do an audit, and see if I felt that I was hitting those key points. The second part of that is then to actually look at the questions that got the most engagement, and always to test with questions that you feel lead right in to your ideal client's objections. Keep in mind this. Let's say, hypothetically, Mary, of course, she wants to lose weight. She wants to be free of these mindset things that are causing her to overeat, causing her to eat late at night. And a coach is, saying, hey, if you change your mindset, you're going to be able to end those, late night eating or the stress eating or these cravings. But in that person, that our ideal client, our vision of our client, the ideal client avatar, in her mind, she immediately has all these objections. So one of the things by analyzing the questions that people ask you, this is a really easy way to, of course, start testing out different subjects. So let's just say this coach is not going to deviate from weight loss and mindset and these habits. But what she's going to start to do, which can change the direction of her social media, is that she's going to start to examine the questions that people ask her in a one-on-one call. She's going to write down every objection, like, well, I don't know if I'm, ready to work with you because I don't know if I'm ready to change my mindset. She's got all these things that are all real. And I think too often we don't listen to enough of this because we get overwhelmed and we have our own self-doubts that step in. Is she going to hire me? What is the best program for her? What are my offerings? She's not ready for this 3-month commitment. It's not that she's not committed. It's that, let's say this woman who is saying, well, I'm overeating. I have these sleepless nights. I'm, having these cravings. In her mind, she's now equating on the psychology of the buyer. Well, I don't think I can do it right now. It's not that the offer isn't exactly right for her, or even the social media. It's that our social media has to also address objections. So solution one is to come and say, I talked to a woman the other day, or I've been talking to, my clients, and they've been talking about having these insane cravings. Spend a week talking about how we handle cravings. Show those categories of what we call in content marketing, these categories where it shows you're behind the scenes. Hey guys, when I used to have sugar cravings, this is what I do. I wanted to do this little mini training today on, why do sugar cravings come about? Another social media post. So that's a video, very simple video. We do them all the time, whether you do it on stories, whether you're doing these videos in groups, whether you're pitching your services to a podcast or even to corporate or a wellness center. We have to explain that journey. We have to address objection. That you can do a video. And the next would be a social media post. Maybe I would talk about how, in my wellness program, I really believe in movement. And so this is my favorite type of movement, because when I don't move, I find myself overthinking, overstressing. So this is how we handle it in my transformational program, or this is how we start to address it and change the habits in my one-on-one. The next day, the next social media post, which is why it's always really, it actually makes it easier when you take the very problems and the questions and you actually change your content to address them. The next one is, I'm going to talk about berberine. Because for me, that is one of my core solutions, and chromium and nutrient deficiencies and leaky gut. Maybe for this coach, that's more of a mindset, weight, emotional eating coach. It would behoove this coach to actually talk about a personal story or even a success story from a client. Those are 3 types of content, 3 days. Of course, repurposing them and testing also where you best convert. It's not just, Instagram's really pretty, or I was told I should do a Facebook group because everyone is. It's actually looking, where do you convert the best in your style of content that fits that platform for either the best engagement, conversations, or searchability factors. And also, of course, where does your ideal client hang out? If I'm working with millennials, that's going to be a more like Instagram and TikTok. If I'm working with busy moms, when I started my wellness business, I knew that was visual. Pinterest, Googling, lots of questions that my ideal client was searching for. And so I made sure that my content matched what not only the objections that my client would feel. Problem would be, my kids have so many food allergies. I don't even know what to cook. I don't even know where to shop. Getting off gluten just feels overwhelming. Because I heard that so many times, that became a piece of content. Because I heard so many times, I've got all these digestive issues. I don't feel well. I've gained this weight. It's unexplained weight loss. I've got hormone issues. A big aspect of my content was demystifying detox, was showing how easy it was to make these changes, which directly address, the objections and the fears. The objections are really fears. So step number 1 is first to analyze and audit. One of the coaches, Michael Jones, who has used our content, would always say, All I did, Rachel, was follow what you used to say. Look at the questions under a post that did well and create responses to those exact questions. Number two, pivot your content. Be okay with pivoting your content. Don't deviate from your core niche and your three to four teaching pillars. These teaching pillars showcase your method. It showcases and it separates you from everyone else. It helps you to come in leading the pack and be different from the other person talking mindset and weight loss. Now we'll move into the perfect example of what Amber did. Amber came into our membership in June, and she asked questions like, so I'm posting a lot on mindset, and I'm talking about, weight loss and the mindset of weight loss, but I'm not getting conversions. So I said to her, Amber, it's not about tossing everything out that you feel that you've done that market research on and you're really crystal clear. It's now about stepping back from the overwhelm and testing to see what are the most engaging topics. Too often we get so focused on the niche, doesn't mean that you're deviating from this, that we forget that I call them bubble topics, that our clients may have weight loss issues, but they're also worried about their digestive health, and they're worried about their sleep, and they're worried about their body image shaming, and they're worried about all these different areas that are still part of weight loss. And so Amber got really clear on what separated her from other coaches. She got really clear on these exact pillars that she wanted to teach, so that also she was able to audit her social media much easier, and furthermore, hire a person to do her social media without that person wasting time and money, because maybe they weren't clear on these pillars that Amber's constantly going to talk about. So fast forward to her only being a coach since June. She is super clear. She has done her market research. She understands her ideal client, which we really understand that from getting people on the phone and asking high mileage questions, or even saying, I'm looking for, 5 people who fit this type of personality so I can do some market research. And in turn, I'm going to give you a 14-day clean meeting program. So she did all of that essential marketing research, and she was able to, after 3 months of working, get to over 10,000 from her higher ticket packages. What she realized also in her higher ticket packages is that was right for one of her ideal client avatars. That person, was ready to go all in. They trusted her. They knew she was the right fit. And so she developed this messaging to that person. This person who's she and I always talk very similar. This A-type driven person, this high intensity person, this woman who feels extremely overwhelmed with life. She feels that she's always like falling apart in this area of taking care of her home and her job and her self-care. She's really trying to balance it all. She has a tendency to keep that stuff in, which then causes more stress. What she realized is there was a different messaging. There were different stories. We call these micro stories in her journey, and even in people that may not be exactly what I call her ideal client, that is the exact model of her, the exact person. And so she started realizing that some of these other people that she was attracting didn't necessarily fit for this 3 months. They just either weren't ready, or there was a lot of self-doubt, or they had been jaded by past experiences. And so when I say that, it means you want to really, in understanding the psychology of your ideal client, your buyer, what are some of the things that they've done before? For example, this person has tried everything. She's tried the keto diet. She tried Slim Fast back in the day. She's done a numerous of different diets before. And so she's a little more jaded. And so that means that it's going to take a little more for her to trust and to actually say, okay, I'm willing to try this again. And so Amber started understanding that a lot of speaking to her ideal client really was stepping back and evaluating the very things that she needed to say to speak to these different personality types. Again, we have niche. This is what you want to known for. Your teaching pillars are really what sets you apart from other coaches teaching the same niche. And then the last part is to truly understand who we attract and to analyze consistently, sometimes even every week, what are the most engaging questions, and to also understand that we have to pivot because world circumstances and economy and what people are being fed on the media, TV, through their doctors' voices, through other practitioners that they work for, or even their past experiences of maybe a sickness in the family are going to imprint them. So fast forward is that Amber decided to create her lower cost offer. And this was good, even though this was good for that person who was a little more jaded. I tell you this because when we're looking at our whole business, it isn't just sitting there and saying, I don't know what I should do. I feel like I've done everything. If you're not converting, you haven't gotten extremely clear on your ideal client and really understanding their subconscious and where they feel like a failure, and the stories that you might have to share from your personal experience, your own micro stories, success stories that you've had with people, and helping that person to understand that transformation is possible, and some of the things that you've either done to help yourself and or other people. Success stories. If you're a brand new coach, you have these success stories in your own family, in your friends. So don't discredit some of the things that you've helped people with. In conclusion, what I say with this is what Amber did right was to sit back. She felt the frustration. Even when I was talking to her today, I said, I was so frustrated in the beginning. I felt that I had been spinning my wheels, and it was in listening to you saying, test these different topics, stay with your niche, stay with mindset, stay with weight loss, stay with self-care. It's mainly weight loss. And then those are her teaching pillars, the self-care part and the mindset part. And I have to look at her pillar work that we have in the membership. But what she said is, I didn't realize how much of this is sales and psychology. And I said, we are the best as coaches. We are intuitive and we're feelers. And if we tap into that aspect and stop thinking that we've done something wrong, but that this is a journey to look at what is our message, what are the freebies that we're offering that show that mini transformation, that give that person a mini win. And then do we have different levels of our offers? Levels either in our one-on-one. I always say the Brendan Bouchard method, where do you have an introductory offer that can be used as a pantry clean out, that can be used in a VIP day, which is usually anywhere from like 4 hours. That could be cooking with a client, that could be cleaning out their kitchen, something that you have as a low cost offer, like a 2-week that you can do as a shopping tour. And that next step is for that higher commitment person. That low cost offer can even be a one-off session. It's an entry to possibly working with you at a higher touch, higher intense level. And so going back to the content that is required on the list building, that awareness, the know, like, and trust factor, are you explaining enough about what I said earlier in this little training, enough about just demystifying sugar cravings, the steps that you take, your personal experiences, and relating sugar to stress, to mindset, for whatever this coach is showcasing in her business, in her transformation, whether it's a membership, a group, a one-on-one. And one of the things Amber said is, Rachel, I would sit there and you would say, test it out. And I would think, I am testing it. And she was like, but it wasn't until like these last few weeks that women started asking me about hormones. And I'm not niching as a hormone coach, but I realized the women are women of my age. Their hormones are starting to change. This, as long as I relate it to weight, doesn't deviate me and doesn't confuse my ideal client. So if she didn't test that, if she didn't start to ask these questions to either her discovery calls or on Facebook or Instagram or even in blogs or even in follow-up emails from a freebie, hey, what are some of your biggest problems? She would never know what to actually talk about. That's the beauty of Done For You content is we have to spend so much time in this getting to know our client, understanding our client, understanding their fears, their objections, that the content allows you just fill in the holes. But remember, you have to do this step. This is the most essential. This is why Marie Forleo teaches constantly on niche, building your business around your niche, ideal client, everything. It's the reason that people constantly talk about this. So if you feel like you've done this kind of work, do it again. Maybe somebody can tell you from behind the actual desk of a coach that, sometimes most often you're doing this weekly, at least monthly, and most definitely quarterly. So you can get a tap on the people within your existing list that you're building. And of course, even new people who come to you. If you have questions about this below, guys, drop them. I would say in closing, to ring true to what Amber said, to ring true to another coach, Kristen, who said, I was talking detox and immune and gut. And I started to realize that I can talk detox, but I have to relate it to what a lot of people ask me about, which is, weight and their immune system and energy. And so it's just listening. It's coming out of overwhelm. It's having a plan so that we're better listeners. Because whether you're doing soulful sales or I hope you're always doing soulful sales, but if you're trying different strategies out, we still have to be the modern digital marketer, and that's to listen, to write down, to take notes, to analyze our own social media, which doesn't require you to even hire one single person. This is taking time to look at your insights. It's taking time to see the most trending topics on Amazon for books. It's taking time to look at Mind Body Green. It's taking time to look at magazines and see topics that are being fed to people or the most trending topics. Doesn't mean you're changing your niche. You're getting extra info to use in your social media content planning. And then furthermore, to always analyze the comments, the questions. You're contacting either DMs, PMs, questions from family. I have a question from friends and family book that I always keep because that's real-time language from our client. It's not coach verbiage. I just feel off after I eat. I feel like I'm craving sugar. I often feel like I need salt after this meal. It's going back to really the basics and using our ideal client's language versus getting caught up in a lot of that fancy digital marketing language. So with that being said, guys, my name is Rachel Feldman. Go over to our happy home, rachelafeldman.com. You can listen to some podcasts. There's so many amazing coaches. We just featured Ashley Beckham, has been using our detoxes forever. and she's an acupuncturist, and now she does a lot of epigenetic testing. She was featured on a huge summit for, I think it was Lyme. She's really, really interesting, and that was just featured this week. Somebody saying, thank you so much for this information. I became a coach since 2018, but not done anything with my business. I was unclear on my ideal client. Well, come on into our free group, guys. We're going to be drilling down on ideal client, understanding how to really speak to our ideal client. And it will be different for each one of you, just like my protocol supplement for, viruses and pathogens may be different from yours. It's about learning the basics, mastering the basics, and moving on. I hope you guys have a wonderful one. And for those of you who want to come into the group tomorrow and watch the live, please just join our free group and ask questions. We're all going to go back to the basics. Much easier, much more doable, easier to not get overwhelmed or think that there's a one magic bullet solution. With that being said, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.